And that's precisely what's been going on. And it's in that regard that what I'm saying here is I wish that those young girls had seen justice served for them as fast as the judge served Tommy Robinson justice in this case. Because in this case, it's very easy for us to pick on the bogeyman. But actually, the truth is that our silence over decades in this country is the real bogeyman. And that's the real thing we should despise, our own cowardice in the face of grooming of young girls up and down this country and our conspiracy of silence.
You know, it's so hard to talk about it. I think that's why Nigel Farage himself, who I regard as a hero for Brexit and his fight against the banks for debanking conservatives, I regard Nigel Farage as a hero. But I think he's so afraid of being called racist, or in the UK they use the word far right, which would be like alt-right here. I think Nigel Farage probably agrees with Tommy on 80% of things, but he feels a need to, in a very demonstrative way, denounce Tommy lest he be lumped in with him. What do you make of that? What do you make of the absolute sheer terror? It's the same terror that the social workers, the police, the hospital workers in Rotherham faced. That's what they told the Rotherham Commission. I think Nigel Farage has the same fear in him.
I think you're right. And Ezra, I saw that tweet you put up and Elon reposted, and it's been one of the many wow moments in the last week. And I thought, well done for Ezra when I saw that.
I'm meddling I'm a foreigner meddling in British affairs.
Meddle away. Hey, you've got rid of your prime minister. Me, you can help us get rid of ours. But that's a whole other issue. So meddle away. But I saw that repost and that was great because that gave some of the facts and information about why Tommy is where he is now. It's weird seeing this clash because Nigel didn't have to be in this situation. I don't know who's giving Nigel the media advice, but whoever they are needs to be taken out and, well, sacked. Let's say that. Sacked. Because they are basically saying that you have to attack Tommy. No. Nigel could have done what other Reform MPs have done, like Rupert Lowe. He could have given credit to Tommy for the work he's done on grooming gangs. And Tommy was one of the early people to talk about grooming gangs. And people talk about, I was first. Well, no, you weren't. Julie Bindel was maybe the first person in media in 2007. Andrew Norfolk was the first person front page in the Times in 2012. Anne Cryer was the first MP back in 2003, a Labour MP. They've all suffered abuse for highlighting this issue. Tommy has also suffered abuse for highlighting this issue, and he has highlighted this back in his EDL days, and he's been criticized a lot for that. But back then, he was talking about this clash in Islam in the West, and early on, he talked about that issue in grooming gangs. So he's highlighted this, as has Nigel at times as well, but not the focus of Tommy. But Nigel has a lot of other issues on his plate. But you don't need to go to war against Tommy. You can say, well done for what you've done, but actually, we are building a new political party, Reform UK, and we don't want you to be part of it. He could have done that, but instead he attacked Tommy and called him all these things, mocked him, ridiculed him, saying he was basically one of those. He's in prison, he's serving time, he's got many records on his name for doing all different things. But Nigel didn't have to do that. And I think Nigel, maybe he's worried about Tommy getting the spotlight. Maybe this is the class issue, Tommy being a working class lad from Luton, a down and out town in the UK, and Nigel is different. I don't know, but Nigel doesn't have to have this battle, and I think he's been fairly foolish. He's tried to roll back a little bit in terms of Elon, I didn't mean it. I'm kind of sorry. Let's be friends. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, even this morning, he was attacking Tommy again, and there's no need for that. I found in the media space that if you disagree with someone, don't spend the time attacking them. Focus on things actually you want to do, you want to build up, because the media space can be a negative space, and you can choose whether you're partaking that or not. And Nigel's chosen to partake in that negative side and attack Tommy when he didn't need to. So it's a peculiar fight that he has picked, and obviously he's picked it up against Elon Musk, which is a rather foolish fight to have.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk was contemplating really supporting Reform UK. I mean, he was a huge help to Donald Trump in America. You mentioned Nigel poking at Tommy Robinson. I mean, listen, if I was a party leader of a new party, I wouldn't want to consort with a guy who had so many little asterisks near his name. Tommy has served time in jail on multiple occasions. And not all of it has been political. I mean, he did have some other, I mean, he is a mixed bag if you're a political leader. But there's no need to attack Tommy so performatively in a way that I think was calculated to impress the regime media. I think that shows too much deference to the peer pressure of the cool kids in the regime media. We see that in Canada too. One of the things I like about Canada's Pierre Poilievre, the new leader of the Conservative Party here, is he hates the media. Well, he doesn't hate the media. He fights with the media. He never grants them the moral high ground. He always challenges their premises. He doesn't allow them to have the moral authority. In fact, I think that's his greatest strength, and that tells me he won't be blown off course. Nigel, I fear it's the opposite. Here's that clip you referred to. Here's Nigel Farage this morning on a radio station called LBC, claiming that Tommy is violence against women. And I know, I checked this morning, I'm familiar with all of Tommy's scrapes with the law, and there have been too many. But this goes too far. Take a look.
This Tommy Robinson character, who some see as a hero. And all right, he's talked about grooming gangs and other things, although he's hardly been on his own on that, has he? I mean, I was first being condemned in 2012 for daring to talk about it.
Anne Cryer was talking in 2002.
Yeah, no, she was, I mean, she is the
20 plus years.
She's the heroine of all of this. Yeah. As indeed, to be fair, Andrew Norfolk, who was writing for the Times. And Sue Reid on the Mail. There were some very brave figures early on. But when figures like myself as party leaders dared pop their head over the parapet, we were smashed back down very, very quickly. Robinson's talked about this, but he has a criminal record, a list as long as your arm. Violence against women. I mean, I could go on, Nick. Right. And all I'm saying is, look, Mr. Robinson, do what the hell you like. We are totally separate from that. And I never wanted, and you know this, you've known me long enough to know, I've never wanted my parties to have anything to do with the BNP or extremism, and I never will.
Why have they attracted people then, Mr. Farage? Because in the past they have attracted that like.
Well, not when I've led parties, no. What I inherited...
I take you back to the last general election, which possibly you didn't have enough time.
No. I had no say over that whatsoever. I came in right at the last minute. There were people there that shouldn't have been there. That will never happen again.
Now, the thing about that, Peter, is that a lot of Tommy's supporters will know that's untrue and will feel that's deeply unfair, and they will feel that's sort of like a deplorables moment when Hillary Clinton said, oh, this basket of deplorable people. And you don't talk that way about people. I was in Clacton, that's Nigel Farage's district, on election night. I went there. I wanted to see what was going on, and there's this UK tradition of the votes being brought to one central building, all the candidates coming to this central building. Like, they may have their parties elsewhere, but they all come together. It's a really lovely tradition. The votes are counted so meticulously. I don't think we had the result till 4 a.m. I'd never seen anything like it. I really enjoyed it. I was so tired. And so what do you do when you're waiting for 8 hours for the votes to be counted? Well, you chat. And here's the funny thing, Peter. I'm an anonymous foreigner in Clacton. Like, who would possibly know me? A ton of people did, because Tommy Robinson had just visited Canada, and he was arrested in Canada, and we got him out without any charges or any conditions. So all these people in Clacton recognized me, which tells me, and we talked about, they asked me about Tommy Robinson, which tells me they follow him pretty closely. Like, if you are in Clacton on the Sea, which is this little town in the UK, it's not a big place, and you know who Ezra Levant is, it's not because I have a connection to Clacton, it's because you're watching Tommy Robinson. The overlap between Tommy's supporters and Nigel's supporters is so much, and Nigel Farage doesn't have to emphasize that or revel in it, but by gosh, it's stupid for him to be poking and insulting Tommy. Here's another MP for Reform UK, Richard Tice, using that phrase, that lot. Here's a quick look at it. There's no need to do that. If you're the party of the working man, don't get a sneering condescension. Here, take a look at this.
Tommy Robinson, people have been protesting in his name. What do you make of Tommy Robinson? Is he a good guy in your eyes?
No. All of that lot, we have nothing to do with them.
Even the protesters who have got banners up saying two-tier Keir. You agree with them on the policing and justice?
We agree with ourselves. I'm not aligning ourselves with Tommy Robinson's lot in any shape or form.
But
anyhow, I hate the fact that in order to suck up to powerful people, they're punching down. I just hate that, Peter.
I agree. And look, I think from Canadian politics, every politician should do an interview eating an apple. To me, that's Pierre's advice to everyone. But it's true that Nigel has kind of said it's him or me. And it doesn't need to be. There are two very different individuals in very different fights. Tommy does not lead a political party. He's never asked to join Reform. He asked to join UKIP, and I was very much part of those conversations back in 2019 when he was campaign manager of Tommy joining UKIP to run in the European elections. But it's a different situation at the moment. Tommy has never requested to join Reform. He has called on his supporters to back Reform many, many times. And if you're the leader of Reform, you shouldn't really attack probably one of the most... Nigel and Tommy, there aren't really any other individuals of a higher profile politically campaign-wise than those two individuals. And I've kind of been with them both at different times, and you get them mobbed for people wanting selfies because they're regarded as heroes. It doesn't have to be you either choose him or me.
Yeah.
It can be we're very different people. Tommy is doing something. I'm doing something as Nigel's a political figure. And we are quite different. But I certainly see Tommy as an absolute hero. I'm visiting him in prison next week. And I've known him for 15 years. I've known Nigel much less. I watch him from afar. I don't know him personally. But there is no need to have this fight. And that's why I'm confused at why Nigel has gone down this route.